Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everybody. First and foremost, I apologize. I profoundly apologize for that delay. I'm actually not traveling with very limited internet, but I really wanted to be part of this conference, part of this discussion. So first and foremost, I would like to say it's an enormous honor and pleasure for me to be with you. I would like to congratulate the organizers of this event, that is my sister Zahra, the Mawazo Institute, the British East Africa Council, I think RVI is also, I saw, is part of the organization. And I think above all, congratulate the effort of the director of the Gender Hub, the Somali Gender Hub, that has been doing wonderful things. And I might say this is my second time attending this event, and it's a timely event. So congratulations, Hambelio. This is well done. I think this is the kind of space that we should be creating as Somali women, and I really would like to thank the effort of Zahra and for giving us this pleasure and opportunity to meet and discuss and share. So my intervention today, I had a small discussion with Zahra, and I told her that I would like to break the monotony instead of doing a typical how do you call it, a typical presentation where I talk about, I would summarize my presentation around what are the benefits of Somali women being in the higher learning institution, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities. But I would like to change a little bit and not talk about, in an academic format to do a normal presentation. I would like to talk about a life of a Somali woman in higher learning institution. And what I would like to do is more or less talk about my testimony, about my experience being in the higher learning institution for the last, let's say 19 years, almost 20 years of my life has been, my career has been in the higher learning institution. So I will just basically show pictures and just to summarize my journey, where I have come from, where I am at, what has been the benefit of me being in this space, what has been the challenges, and of course, what kind of opportunities I have experienced. Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Good. All right. So I would also like to acknowledge that I'm also accompanied by very good friends and sisters, Dr. Nereida and my sister Fatma Saman, who is also so I'm really blessed. And now I would like to say that first and foremost, I consider myself a very lucky girl. I pinch myself every morning and I say I'm very lucky. Can you go to the next slide? I don't know if I can. I'm trying to move, but I can't see. I can't. Next. Yes, I consider myself a very, no. Before that. As a Somali woman, as a Muslim woman, I consider myself very, very lucky. I pinch myself every morning and I don't believe. As I was sharing with my sister Zahra, I said, I'm not the brightest, I'm not the greatest, but I've just been lucky in life. I've been lucky because of the family that raised me. I'm actually adopted. My father, you can see the guy there with the suit. I would say he's the best father the best person I've ever met, who believed in equality, believed in education, gave me opportunities, that gave me wings to fly and taught me that the sky is not the limit. So I just want to tell us also, sometimes we do need to appreciate our background. We need to pray for our parents and people who raised us and gave us this opportunity, because some of us are lucky because we come from those background. So my story is, I actually did I'm born and raised in Kenya. So I did my high school education in 1994 that I passed. I was called to Kenyatta University. I'm hearing a lot of colleagues from Kenyatta University. However, the degree I was called to pursue was called home economics. And you can imagine what home economics, I did home science as one of my subjects. So I was just assuming home economics is going to be about cooking and all this. And that was the last thing that I wanted to go and study, because I've had a lot of that from my background. I was doing much of that as part of my social construction and as part of my roles within my family. So I stayed home for I taught for a year. I taught in a primary school called New Motaiga Primary School. Then I stopped because I thought then if I just go into career, like just teaching without having like a training and all that, maybe will not be very effective. So I stopped. And then I stayed home for 2 years. And one day my dad came home and he saw me cooking, and he just asked me, what are you doing here? Because he knew that I was called to go and pursue a degree in home economics in KU. So he was expecting that I will be doing paperwork and all that. So I told him, no, I did not go to Kenyatta University to study this, because I thought that this is not what I want to study. I'm already doing this perfectly. So my father was so shocked that he told me, you have passed. You always wanted to study. Then you have to go and look for any course that you want to do. When I was told that, I was very excited. I knew that I wanted to go to the university. I wanted to study. But then I had wanted to study something that will take me very far, travel. I like traveling, exploring other cultures. So I just thought, okay, that has to be in the aviation industry, maybe as a air hostess, as a pilot. But again, when you say things like pilot, you're starting to be told, no, it's not something that women can do. And of course, demoralized immediately. So I said, okay, I also have height phobia, and I'm already told that this is not what girls can do in my society and all that. So there are all these stereotypes and biases that put that out. Then finally, I realized I could travel a lot as a diplomat. So what I did is I looked for programs, and I found a program in international relations that talked about diplomacy. So I applied for this program that was United States International University, and I went and I did my BA. When I was studying there, we were only 6 Somali girls, and up to today, we are very good friends. I think it was like a magnet, because now I'm in the same university, actually. Karma is real. I studied in the same university, and now I'm teaching there, which is good because I'm bringing it back there. And there's so many girls. So I'm like, wow, things have evolved, things have changed. I was there 30 years ago, and it's very different now. And at least now you have a lot of Somali girls who have this ambition. Now, for me, my first challenge was that when I was thinking about career, I wanted to work, I wanted to become independent, I wanted to move far away from, like travel from one place to another. Basically, I wanted to be an educational student tourist, like move around from one place to another. But then I had never seen that in my background. Like nobody in my family worked. I've never seen anyone. So it was a bit challenge convincing most of the people around me that this is what I wanted to do. But luckily, I always had my father on my side. And not only my father, but I think I was very lucky because I also have all the male support. Now, I will tell you where I'm going with that. So I did my studies, I finished. Again, when I was in the university, I met one of my academic guru, Professor Machare Munene, who recommended me for a master's program. The master's program is on peace, conflict, and development studies in Spain. It was not my interest. I was actually looking, and I had actually applied to go and do my master's in Cornell University in the US. So I had like what Somalis will call boofies, boofies to run away and go and study. Of course, after having my first degree in an American institution, I thought it was something similar I could do. Then also I was so much fascinated by this city that never sleeps, that is the Big Apple. And I thought being at Cornell, it's not really in the center, but very close. And of course, also I read a lot of books that were written by professors from Cornell, and I thought that maybe that is a place to be because it looks like there is a lot of knowledge production, and maybe they're also very strong in my background, which is international relations. So I did my academic, my first bachelor's degree was in international relations concentration, and then I did the minor in sociology and human resource. Now, those were my exit strategy. I thought if I don't get my good job as a diplomat, where I can go from one country to another, wine and dine and mingle with people, I could always do research with the sociology. If not, I would work in a human resource, and at least that way I have all these exercises, because my main interest was actually to get employed, to work, and to be able to move around. Now, when I finished the university, I actually worked for a year with an international civil society that was called Hague Appeal for Peace, that was using peace education to eradicate war. And I really liked what they were doing. So I actually, apart from the experience I had in teaching, they were focusing more on curriculum and education. So I also landed into education, and I landed into peace education. Now, when my dreams of going to Cornell was blown off because I got a very small scholarship, a partial scholarship, which was quarter of what was required, and the other 3/4 that I had to give in was very, very, it was a lot. So it was not easy to do that. It was very expensive. So I actually took the offer of my professor, Machare Munene. I went to Spain. I had no clue what where it was, the language, everything. So there was a lot of challenges of doing that. So I thought I was just going to do my master's and then leave. So while I was doing the master's, I interacted. One of my professors was actually the director of the program, Professor Martinez, the late Professor Martinez Guzman. I did a presentation in class, and he told me, why don't you stay and do the PhD with us? And I was like, no, that is not what I want to do. I just want to finish this master's and go back home, because of course I was homesick. I had a lot of many challenges, and also I had a lot of self-doubt. So sometimes you wonder, you ask yourself, do I really need to study this? Do I really need to do this? Why am I really struggling? I should just abandon this and just leave. So I finished my master's. I did a second master's, and then I did an MPhil, and then I did the PhD. So Vincent helped me a lot. I got very good scholarship. I always said, again, I'm very lucky. I got 5 scholarships at once, and one of these scholarship was very critical because it was from a political party. This political party got a lot of criticism because of it's the Partido Popular. Maybe the reader here will know, because they were being accused of being chauvinist, anti-migrant, anti-Africans, and all that. So for me, I embodied all that. So being a Muslim, being a woman, and being African, and I really benefited from that scholarship as well, and that's why I was able to do my PhD. But when I was doing my PhD, I didn't have a clue of really what I will do with it. But as I was doing my PhD, one of my training in my university, the curriculum was not only to not make you do the PhD, but the training was to prepare you to actually go and work in the academia. So I was already working in that university, as a research assistant, going with my supervisor to class, teaching, attending conferences. So I was already getting the preparation. So when I started my career in academia, I actually started my career when I was doing my PhD in Spain. It was very interesting because also I was learning quite a lot. And sometimes also I was wondering if it will be the same experience, because there were so many women in the university, but not from my context. Now, when I finished my studies, I finished my PhD in 2007. I thought I finished what I came for. I went back. I came back to Kenya. And automatically, I went back to USIU because one of the thing that my scholarship, it was a development scholarship. So I had to go and develop my country or go and work. So I actually went to USIU. I was received very well by the chancellor then. That was Professor Frida Brown. And she's like, actually, I wasn't going to look for a job. I was just going to visit the university and just appreciate, because that university gave me a lot. As they say, it's education to take you places. So it really took me to places. So when I was explaining to her that I just got my PhD, I've been teaching in Spain in the last 4 years. So she's like, why don't you apply and teach? So I joined the International Relations Department. It was a bit challenging, being the first woman in my department, again, dealing with stereotypes. So I just want to tell my young sisters that first, there's a lot of opportunity. I know most of us fear this world. You say, oh, what am I going to do with a PhD? Why am I going to study? I am wearing the hijab. Maybe people have a negative connotation, stereotype, and that's why you should be there. You should actually be there to deconstruct all those stereotypes. You should be there to show people that it's not about the scarf. It's about the person. It's about the knowledge. It's about the capacity that you've been given by your creator. And also to show that sometimes also when you are there, it's a role model. So as I said in the beginning, when I was growing up, I didn't have a role model. Nobody had ever studied. Nobody had ever worked. At times I was even thinking that, am I rebelling? Am I doing the right thing? Why am I obsessed with going away, with studying too much? Of course, I also was, I wouldn't say I was a bookworm. I used to love reading. I used to hide myself and read just novels. I think I read all the Mills and Boons that have ever been written, Daniel Steele, any academic or non-academic book, fiction or non-fiction book. I loved reading because I thought those stories transferred me to another world, to another place. And also just having this imagination of being somewhere else and doing this parasocial, where you can socialize with another character, and you can see the similarities, and you can assume, and you can navigate their life as if it is yours. So that also fascinated me. So when I came back, I had a lot of challenges working in a department where there was a lot of stereotype, the stereotype of warrior. Many people asked me, are you sure you got a PhD? We've never had anyone getting a PhD from Spain. Most people got challenged because I came to a department where not everybody had a PhD at that time. I think also the age factor. So there were certain things that really made it like a challenge. One was the age. Secondly, the stereotype of my ethnicity, because most people asked me, do you know how to cook? I said, very well. What do you want me to cook for you? Because of course the stereotype of Somali women typically we are socialized to cook, to clean, to be married, and most of them asked me, are you married? I said, not yet, but I have a lot of candidates, and there was a president in the line at that time waiting. Now the president has occupied his position. So it was a bit of frustration, challenges, self-doubt. Most of the time I asked myself, do I really want to be in this space? And I was not only challenged by my colleagues, even students. Sometimes I will have a smaller son or brother come to me and tell me, you know, as a Muslim woman or a Somali woman, you're not supposed to be in this public space, sometimes pull my scarf for me and then tell me, you know, your hair is being seen or something. And I realize this is also being the part of the groundbreaking. So one thing is that the first time I was going to teach a class, I remember that my name, I mean, normally our names are, they use the initial and the first name. So it was F. Ali. And I had a lot of girls take my class. Most of them thought I was a man, Farhan. And when they came to class, to their disappointment, it was not Farhan and they dropped. But the few girls who stayed, actually, I'm proud to say one of them actually is a PhD holder now, Khadija Mohammed, and she's based in the UK. And this was, you know, it was a deja vu kind of experience. They just wanted me to tell them about me, how I got there. So I realized sometimes also one of the benefits being in the academia is that when you're the first one or the few one, it's good because you serve as a role model, you serve as a mentor, and also you give people an opportunity to think beyond what they will think. So I know that now there are a lot of young ladies who are in the academia. I don't know if Fatma Zahra is here. Currently, we have one young, intelligent lady called Fatma Zahra who did her undergrad, master's, and currently is doing her PhD, and she's also teaching in another local university in Nairobi, in Riara. So now people are realizing there are opportunities you can teach. And then also the other thing also is demystifying the myth that if you educate your girls as Somalis, they will get lost, they will get married. I got education not only, but from different systems, Kenyan systems, and American system, then the Spanish system. I lived for 7 years in Spain. I came back with 2 masters, one MPhil, and a PhD. So for 7 years, I was able to manage myself, you know, keep my reputation, you know, and then also keep my dignity as a student and study and, you know, excel in that. So sometimes also it's good that you're there to demystify all this myth. People think that if you go to get education, maybe you will be rebellious. But no, this is also why also the other challenge that I received early enough when I was starting my undergrad. Most of my father's friends and relatives were saying, oh, why are you educating a girl? She will get married and you're wasting your money. You're taking her to a very expensive school, because then USIU as a private, at least now there are more private universities, as one of the few private universities by then was very expensive. But my dad was like, no, she wants to study, I will pay for her as long as I can afford. So the good thing is that you as a person, you're able to show what as an individual can do. You're able to demystify and show your capacity. So I will say one of the biggest benefits that I've seen from my experience is that many of my younger sisters, when they see me at the university, even though I'm not taking classes, then they smile at me because they are happy to see me. And when I see them, I'm also happy to see them, because I know that 20, 30 years ago when I was in the university, were only 6 of us, but now there are so many, you know. And the other thing also, I can shape their character, I can give them advice, I can hold their hand, you know, I can recommend them to do a program somewhere. And when they join the university, I can always be there as a big sister to help them. Now, the second stage that I want to talk about is about knowledge production. So I've just displayed here 2 of my contribution, or 2 books that I have. One is edited with the colleagues back, please, and one is authored by me in Spanish. It's called Mujeres y Guerra. So the benefit is that you're able to contribute to knowledge. You're able to produce to knowledge. So I think being in the academia for the last 19 years, I have contributed more in the area of women and war, in the area of gender analysis, in the area of politics in Horn from a gender perspective. And I think I've also given voice to the local to the local, to the discourse, to the global discourse. I've given local voice to the global discourse when it comes to issues of women and war and peace building, social development, and many things. So my interest also has evolved over the years. So this also has been very good. The other thing is also I'm an activist. Apart from being an academician, I wear many hats. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, but I'm also involved in the community. I'm an activist. So my area of activism is violence against women. So what I do is I use my academic platform. And I think also this has also helped me to be able to add my contribution through the academia. The other thing is that also visibility. I think as Somali women, we have to more and more take this journey, because it's not only self-fulfilling, it's not about personal development, but also it's about community development. We do not only give visibility to ourselves as humans, but also as people, as Somalis. So I know that most of the time when I've been invited to a conference, an event, people will say, "Oh, Dr. Fatuma." And when I come, they thought maybe if it's beyond Kenya, they'll think I'm from West Africa or something. I'm like, no, I'm from Kenya. I'm a Kenyan Somali. And when they hear Somali, some people get shocked. They can't believe it because, of course, again, as I said, the myth people have, the stereotypes that we have. And that's why one of the motivation is I like to deconstruct things and construct and reconstruct. So I think the whole idea of saying Somali women can't do it, no, we can. And believe me, I think there are many who can do. Some of you who are in the room saying that you're doing your master's, you're doing your undergraduate. My sister Zahra, I'm encouraging you to nurture, and we need to create this pool, and we need to create this crop of girls who are going to demystify all the myth that people have, deconstruct the negative social construction of Somali women, or being maybe, what we say, marginalized, subjugated, and this is very generalized, and we can do better and go beyond that. Now, apart from research, research is one way of really demystifying this, adding, engaging in knowledge production, engaging in debate, educating other, creating awareness. Also, it's part of that exercise. Now, I want to go to the next slide and say that also one of the other benefits is that sometimes you might do things that might bring recognition, that might bring, it might be difficult, but you can do things that can achieve, you can achieve a big objective. So in 2020, when we had COVID, I actually got a small recognition from the town where I got my education, Castellón. I got it's like a peace prize, which I was able now to use later. The next year, this prize was, I got a small amount of money that I was able to take back to a school called Honorable Khalif in Geriftu, Wajir County. I'm actually not from Wajir County, but I have a sister that I work closely with, Umi Bashir, that has an organization called Women for Women Alliance, and they have a big sister program. So through that big sister program, I was able to donate some of this prize for the girls to have mathematical set to do the exam. So there are small little things that we can do, but I think the visibility, being out there, being able to do these things and being able to participate. So I've actually done many solidarity activity for the Sahrawi people, for the Palestinian people, for the Iraqi people, for different from the South Sudanese people, and this is because of the spaces where I've been. The other things that I've been able to influence policy. 2 years ago, I did some work with IOM on labor migration, on gender perspective, and right now I'm proud to say that Kenya is actually doing its own labor migration and taking gender issues into consideration. So there's a lot that we can do. Maybe some of them could be micro, some of them can be micro, but I really want to encourage, and I feel like as Somali women, we have a lot that we can offer. We have a lot that we can teach. We can be the role model, and we can create opportunities, and not only as lecturers, but also as researchers, as educators. Fatma Saman is here. She's a very inspirational person. Many years ago, she invited me to a school that she was running. And I've met actually Khadija Mohammed, the lady I'm telling you who got her PhD, did her studies there. So we are able to shape characters of our little sister. We are able to be to mentor them, and I think also we are able to make impact, positive impact, you know, and also be felt, be heard, and contribute to the kind of, to the kind of development or whatever that we are doing in the different. And I like what Zahra said, that Mawazo is really mentoring and sponsoring girls who are venturing into STEM. I think also we need to invite our sisters to venture more into those areas so they can contribute. And I think now the world is changing. There are a lot of opportunities, and this opportunity are immense. The other thing is that sometimes you might feel you're the elephant in the room, but that is your unique point. So for me, when I got this scholarship, many people will look at it negatively, wearing the hijab, being in a place, but it actually was very beneficial. I don't think I would get all those opportunities if I wasn't wearing my hijab. I don't think I'll get all those opportunities if I wasn't a Somali. I don't think I will get those opportunities if I was not an African. So I think also I've taken pride in who I am, and I've taken pride in what I represent, because it has also benefited me. So I just want to tell you that there might be challenges, there might be a bit of things that might make you want to drop out, but there is a lot that we can do. And as I told Zahra last year in the conference, you can also consider me as your big sister for any advice or any mentorship, role modeling. I'm always here, and this is one of my purpose. I think the purpose that Allah put me in this academic environment is to serve you as my sisters, to serve you as my daughters. So I want to end here and to say that I would like to congratulate this effort, and I look forward to engaging with all of you at different capacities. I didn't want to make this very complicated, but I wanted to share with you my testimony. I wanted to break the ice, and I wanted to show you that it's possible, and it's a great a career to be in, and also there are so many benefits. I think we need more women, more Somali women in this, and probably next year we might have some of you who are in this room as our keynote speaker. Thank you very much. Congratulations once again. And thank you, Zahra, for inviting me to be part of this beautiful and wonderful process. Over to you.
Indeed, a clap, a well-deserved clap. Thank you very much, Professor Fatuma. Very, very inspiring talk, very uplifting, very encouraging. Really, it's, when I was speaking with Prof the other day, she said, I don't want to go into theory or paradigms and concepts and make it difficult. I want to keep it simple. I want to tell my life journey. I want to tell my story of how I did it, the obstacles that I faced, how I overcame them. And really, that is very characteristic of this conference today, that many of our panelists and conference speakers will be speaking about their own, lived realities, their own, experiences in research, in knowledge production, in academia, in teaching and learning as students as well. So thank you very much, Prof, for that very, very informal, less theoretical personal story. It's very important to hear from women in very high positions. We have here a very good number of students, from Somalia who are studying here. We have students from the Somali, Somali Kenyans who are studying here. Regardless of where they are from, Somali women all over the world are more or less facing the same problems. They are facing the same obstacles. And it's very important to speak about these things. As you saw, Prof is from Kenya, she's Somali Kenyan, yet I can identify, I can relate to some of the challenges she mentioned about the social constructions of where a woman is supposed to be in society, at home, with the kids, in the kitchen. You know, I can be very proudly be in the kitchen, but also be visible in society. The two don't have to conflict. They don't have to, oppose one another. They don't have to, be enemies of one another. I can be a mother, a very good mother, a very proud mother, wife, sister, but also contributing to society in different ways as a leader, but also as a researcher and sharing important data and knowledge and information with policymakers about what they should do, about how they should empower, uplift women in higher education, in research. So, I hope her story has inspired you all the way it has inspired me. Many thanks once again, Prof. I don't know if can we have the lights on, please? Eric and your friend, thank you very much. It's time now for a brief discussion before we head for break. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the presence of our online guests. We have people from the government, the federal government of Somalia. We have with us Habiba from the Ministry of Planning, Durable Solutions Unit. We have others, Director Generals, we have directors, many of them women. We have gender advisors, for example, Nusaiba is with us online from the Ministry of Youth, senior gender advisor. So I also want to acknowledge those that I mentioned and those that I did not mention for being with us online. I hope our online guests are equally inspired thus far by the discussion the speakers we had so far. Please let us know your thoughts on this in the chat. Also, finally, before we open it up for discussion, please take pictures. Visibility is very important about this conference. The world should know that Somali women are gathering here today to speak about not only the problems and challenges, but also opportunities. When I began my opening remarks, I said something very important. I said there are opportunities being mentioned here today, and we can all, if we want to walk out of this place today with a long list of opportunities. Professor mentioned a number of them. She visually shared those opportunities with us. So I'm keeping track of them. I hope you are as well. And I will ask you, I'll come to each table and say, what did you gain from all the discussions, all the presentations? What opportunities and resources and tools were you able to capture? Yeah, Samsam, yeah, Fatuma Laban, to all our guests here. Please, very important opportunities. Please, it's open now for discussion. I think Layla has a comment. Where is the other microphone? You're admitted. I think it's Charles himself. HP. Because he was okay, HP is with us. Who has a question or a comment on what has been said so far? We had Sylvia talk about the Mawazo, we had Prof, we had myself talk about the Somali Gender Hub. Do you have questions for those presentations? Yes, please.
First of all, I want to thank the Prof for his good presentation on her personal experience, and I want to thank you. And I want to thank your father for his support in your education. As I was following up your presentation, you said you will tell us the role the men played in your success. Maybe I missed it, but I would kindly like I would kindly like a clarification on that. so that we as men can embody those positive traits in supporting the women and refugee women in Kenya. Thank you.
So that was a question for Prof.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think that's a very good question. I want to say that I dedicate everything that I've done to my dad, of course, to my creator, first Allah, for giving me this opportunity, and my father. My father is the one who gave me the opportunity to study, gave me the confidence. So you wanted to know how men can, and I think this is why we need to bring the men to this conversation to support women and give women not a chance, but for me, first, my father gave me the confidence, you know, when he saw me cooking and he said, "What are you doing here? You passed. Go look for a program." He didn't even say whatever. He said, "Go look for a program and you study because I know you like studying." So that was the confidence, you know, he just actually gave me that strength, that confidence. So first we can say the confidence, the strength. Secondly, he gave me the opportunity. He told me, whatever you want. You know, when I came back home with the application form from USIU, then it was very expensive. My dad looked at it and he said, "This is what you want to do? What will you be doing?" Then that time I thought I would work with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I will be a diplomat. And my father said, "Fine, no problem. Apply, I will pay for you." So he actually gave me the opportunity, paid for my fees, and was always supportive. Now, everybody, when people would say, "Oh, you should be getting married, you should be doing this," my father said, "No, my daughter is studying, let her study," you know. So I think also I had a defender in him. So he defended me. Second person who was very influential are my brothers. I think they kind of like went into the footstep of my father. Of course, the women also gave me a lot of support. I mean, I think I would not be the woman I am today without the women in my environment and in all the contexts. I mean, in different countries and from my own family. But I just want to acknowledge the men in my life who have played very big roles. My brothers have always been there to support me, support my weirdness, even though I've been a different kind of ladies, and always defend me and always support me. And one of my brothers actually paid for my air ticket when I was coming to study in Spain. I got a full scholarship, but I didn't have the air ticket. So at that time, my father's business wasn't going very well. But my brother was like, you know, this is for a good cause, and whatever it is, I will get the ticket for you and you will have to go. And when I wanted to come back, when I was defeated, I felt homesick. My brother said, "Why are you coming back? When does the ticket say it's you're supposed to return?" June, and at that time it was February. So he said, "You have to come back when the ticket says." So I think also that made me also now do my studies, because he did it in a very diplomatic way, like, you have to stay. The second person was Professor Macharia Munene, who in my undergraduate classes, I think saw something, you know. I think I was also fascinated by him as an academic, you know, just having someone coming to class and talking about all these theories and story. But the fact that he was able to recommend me for a scholarship, and not only recommend me, I remember I wasn't interested. I was like, "Where is Spain?" The only thing I knew about Spain was Barcelona Football Club and the crazy fiestas that they have there. So I wasn't, because my whole idea, my whole ambition was somewhere else. So I was like, no, first, I didn't want to study peace study. Secondly, I didn't even know where that was. But he called me to his office. He told me, "Sit down, fill that form." I filled the form. Then he sent the application for me. And also he was critical when the professor now in Spain told me, "Stay here and do the PhD with us." I said, "I don't want to do a PhD." So he told Professor Mnene, I remember Professor Mnene asking to sit down with me, and he was telling me, "What's wrong with you? You have an opportunity. You know how many people would die to get a full scholarship to do their PhD. It doesn't matter whether you're doing your PhD in Madare University or USIU-A, you know, where I went to Universitat Jaume Premier, because I thought it was inbreeding. I got my master's there, I got my MPhil there, then getting a PhD, I thought that was too much. I should go now somewhere else and get my degree." So he told me, no, it doesn't matter. The most important is that you have an opportunity to take. And this is what I want to tell you, ladies. When you have an opportunity, go for it. Even though it is not what you wanted, it's not the opportunity that you are looking for. An opportunity, never waste an opportunity. So he really told me this, and I said, why not? So I actually, most of the time, say that I did this PhD because he convinced me. In the beginning, I wasn't aware of what I was getting into. The third person was the late Professor Martinez Guzman. Someone who saw something in me as well, gave me the opportunity to teach in Spanish in Spain, walked my hand and helped me a lot. And then also now I want to acknowledge my husband, because being in the academia is not very easy. I have a very supportive husband who allows me to say, okay, I am going to Ethiopia, I have a conference. Okay, right now I'm here in Spain without my kids. I'm actually visiting a university where I'm teaching a course for 3 weeks. So I think also that has been helpful. I think if without his support, I don't think I will be able to do this, because I have 2 small children, 10 and 7 years. And also, this has also helped me, because I think he has not, one thing that I will say, the support I've gotten from my husband is that he's not feeling uncomfortable. He's not an academic. He's not an academic person. He doesn't have the same level of education, but he supports me. He understands what I'm doing, and he's in for all these things that I do. It gives me space to express myself and to have and I think this has been a blessing, because I have a very good reconciliation with my career and my family life. So I don't have to really all the time have to navigate and have to renegotiate my roles, because I'm in a harmony with my environment. I have a very supportive environment. So that is also one thing, that if you have a couple, your couple is not having insecurity, they understand that is your career, and they support you, because it's equally their, your achievement is their achievement. Sometimes my husband makes a joke and he says, you should call yourself Dr. Hussein, and I'm like, no, my friend, go back to school and get that PhD yourself, because it's also could be the other way around, right? So sometimes also it's critical when we have this support and we have this environment that gives us the opportunities, and we can able to do all these things, because the environment is critical. If you don't have the support, you'll not be able to do it. So as I said, I'm not the brightest of Somali women, but I've just been lucky. I've just been lucky that I've been endowed with a very good environment, and an environment that has helped me be who I am today. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Prof. I think we want to have a break, right? Coffee, you can smell some nice snacks outside. Is there any question? I mean, we are together. If
Yes,
it's for me, we are together.
I have some questions for the Prof. Fatuma Ali, but should we take a break first, or we can?
I think Prof might leave, so I don't know. Is it?
It's okay.
Yeah,
If she will be on, I have some questions to ask. If she's not, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. What is your question, Qadar, from VOA? Yeah, what's the question? Please go ahead.
She takes. Okay, Prof. Fatuma, I'm someone who is aware of you and who knows you. My question is, what inspired you to pursue a career in academia and became that professor?
Good question. That's a very good question. I think my inspiration was step by step. So first, when I came to the university, I was inspired. I think the inspiration was like, I wanted to do this. I wanted to be an educator. And I saw the opportunity in the university. First, I would say I was inspired by Professor Macharia Munene, the way we would come to class, teach. But then I was like, at the end of the day, it doesn't. But what inspired me is when I started teaching in Spain. I met a lot of Spanish professors, you know, from the local environment, women. And I was like, why cannot not do this? Go back, because I was thinking that if I get my PhD, I will end up working with UN and whatever, because I actually did my PhD in peace, conflict and development studies. But then I was like, you know, I think I need to take it back. Then I'm very privileged. I have all this knowledge and I need to go and share. And I am also inspired by many women that I've met who are educators. Fatma Saman, for instance, who is today one of the keynote speaker, you know. So I think I was inspired by women who are in the education field. But for the university, I would say that for me, I found myself there, but then I wanted to make a difference. So it was not really by a plan that I will teach. I just knew that I wanted to be in the education sector. So even though I was inspired by other women who are not from my community, but also I thought there was a lot that I could do back home, that I could come and teach. And also what inspired me is when I saw my young sisters smile at me. You know, when I walk around USIU, you said you studied in USIU and you're aware, I feel like I'm the poster girl. So when I see our young girls smiling, that inspires me. And that's why for the last 15 years, I always say, oh, it's time to go and do something else. But I'm always saying, no, I'm still have unfinished business. So what inspires me is what I'm able to do, the interaction that I'm having, the impact I'm seeing. You know, when I hear our young girls come back and say, I am the advisor of the government, I am the PA, I am this, I am now a politician, you know, I am now doing my PhD. That's what inspires me, and that's what keeps me in the academia, because I'm seeing, yeah.
Sorry to cut you short, Prof. We have one last question for you, and if you could kindly keep it short.
Yes.
It's a question from Fatuma Hirsi. It's a comment, very important to hear from Somali women as well. From Fatuma Hirsi, the communications expert at the World Bank. Welcome.
Okay.
Thank you. Prof, thank you so much. You're inspiring all the young ladies here and myself. Big hug and greetings from your former student, my daughter Halimo. She loves you to bits. I just wanted to, tell my brother that asked about the male figures. I myself also was very supported by my father. Went to very good schools in Kenya. Went to the University of Nairobi. Even though at some point I wanted to do something else, and my mom told me, whatever you're getting, I got a job and I was almost dropping out, not going to university. And she told me, this job and many others will be waiting for you when you finish your degree. And my mom is not educated. So it can be both a father and a mother who push you. The father supports you and the mother guides you, I suppose. I also wanted to just tell my sisters that you don't have to do your PhD like Sister Fatma did, you know, everything at one go, degree, master's, you know, continuously. I had breaks in between my studies. I actually just graduated in my PhD about 2 years ago. And for me, it was a retirement plan. I'm going to go into teaching or, you know, consulting. And that's what I'll do as I end my, you know, my career towards retirement. And I feel like I've really not done anything with it. So you've inspired me now perhaps to start teaching. I taught at USIU a summer course in communications. And the students, actually, the feedback I got from them was that they were very happy with me because I was not only teaching them academics, I was actually giving them real life stories from my experience in the workplace. So I always feel guilty that I'm not giving back as much as I should. So thank you so much for, you know, like focusing me once again. I might just come back. Thank you.
Yes. Sorry. Yes, come back. I know. I remember you taught a semester. Actually, your daughter is my daughter as well. She's my academic daughter. Those are the people who inspire me. A brilliant young girl, Halimo. You know, I've always, and I'm not only, she's my student, but also I have nurtured friendship. So lastly, as well, as I said, yes, we do have our mothers, our sisters who do inspire us. And thank you very much, Sister Fatma. You've also done a lot in your area. You've inspired many other young girls. And also the same thing. For me, I did the PhD and all these studies all at once because I had the opportunity. I had all this scholarship, and it's because of that. So probably it will be the same. I would maybe not have done it all at once because of the possibility. So, and that's why if this possibility comes for you, you take it because it's a chance of a lifetime. So thank you very much. And I'm delighted to be part of this discussion today, but I know you have to go for your break and I have to go for my other engagement. So hopefully, maybe I might join you later. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Once again.